Welcome back to another episode of Short Cute Cooking with Chef Joanne. Today we're going to be doing homemade chicken tenders. We're going to do the breadcrumb batter. So we're going to do dry, wet, dry today. We're going to do the flour, egg wash, and then we're going to do the breadcrumbs. First thing, try to get the most important stuff out the way first. After washing your hands, I put on my hairnet. I need my apron on. Because we're dealing with flour. And if you're dealing with flour, no matter how neat you are, it gets all over the place. I always keep a hand towel on me to dry my hands on. I tie it to my apron. I had this on earlier when I made the sub sandwiches. I'll be loading that to my YouTube page also. Now when you do your egg, my secret, it's not actually a secret, it's just something a lot of people don't know. So I do one egg. I add, oh now I want to move crazy, like, okay, stop playing. I add a little water. Just a little bit. And then I whisk it. Now what the water does, it loosens the egg up so when you put, it don't cling to the meat. See, it lets go. It don't stay too clingy like when you use it by itself. I use the whole egg, depending on, if you can use just the egg yolk. I never use the egg white by itself. It doesn't really adhere as much as using the whole egg or just the yolk. It's not as thick. So depending on how thin you want the egg, you add that much water. So that's only about 2 teaspoons of water. I do season. It's called layered seasoning. So I season the chicken, I season the flour, I season the egg, and I season the breadcrumbs. Even though the breadcrumbs came pre-seasoned, because I got this garlic and herb kind, which I have learned to, I love it. It has a really great garlic taste to it, but it's not overpowering. But I season everything. So you will get some seasoning. You know how sometimes you miss some spots, but if you layer it, you can just, it will coat the meat. You will get a seasoning in every bite. So, it's still like a regular egg, even though you added water. Oh, the camera's over here. I'm learning how to work with the camera more. But with me videoing myself, it's kind of a little harder than what y'all think. Make sure you have a clean workspace. I had to clean up before I start videoing. So, I use these bolts. These are what I had left over for when I sold food in Indiana. And waste not, want not, since I'm not selling anything out here at the moment, I might as well use them. And then that way, it's an easy cleanup. So I add the breadcrumbs. And just so you know, anytime you're using chicken, we don't save this. We throw it away. Because you don't want to try to cook a different type of meat after you cook chicken, because chicken can make you sick from just it being chicken. Just all the poultry, just period. Now I do have a flour bucket that has pre-seasoned flour in it that I use for other meats and stuff, but I do take some out. I don't want to use that with you guys today because that's a whole nother video. Need another whisk. Eggs are just as poisonous if not used correctly as chicken is, because they came from the chicken. So we're going to season both of these. Now with it being layered, you don't have to add a whole bunch of seasoning to everything. Just moderate. We're just mixing it in. So now that we've done our stages, the way I set it up, because we're going to do the flour first. So we have our flour, egg wash. Oh, wait. We have our flour. So the way I set my station up, we have flour. We have our chicken, flour, egg wash, breadcrumb, okay, and my platter. Now once I'm done with that, I start to handle the raw chicken again. Take your cutting board, I coated the bottom of it with plastic. Then I add my chicken. This helps keep down the spread of germs, cross-contamination, E. coli, Shigella, all those weird different diseases you can get from uncooked chicken. And I just lay them out on the board. Now I got the ones that's all different sizes. But like every chicken tenderloin is always thicker at the top than it is at the bottom. What we want to do is flatten it out. Take this, I didn't cut it, I just left it rolled. So I'm going to take it across the top. That it covers every piece. Everybody don't own one, who doesn't own one of these. It's a mallet. They come in steel and in wooden. You need something with a flat surface. You don't want anything like this, because it'll cut the meat. Okay? So I don't have too many things with a flat surface. Okay, this is a regular bowl. It has a flat surface that won't cut the meat when you pound it. So we're just gonna pound it a little bit. Just like that. Just flat enough so that the chicken itself will be even. It doesn't take that long with a mallet. I use glass. I don't want to hit it too hard with glass. Let me try to angle the camera down a little more so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm using the flat end. This is for tenderizing. We're not tenderizing. We just flatten it out. These always can be washed and seasoned and marinated overnight also. If you want to get ahead and just have to, or you can always wash them, season them, and batter them, then plate them. Don't sit them on top of each other, just a flat plate them, cover it up, and put it in the refrigerator also. So the next day or whenever you're ready to use them, they're already done. You just throw them in the hot oil. So now that they're all flat and even up and down, we don't want the top part where it's thick as that to get done faster than the bottom part where it's the thinnest. So us flatten it out evenly, like they're gonna get done at the same time. So you don't have to second guess yourself. Now, without what I do, you can reuse this same plastic. You just pull it off carefully. Set it to the side. Take the already flattened chicken tenders, sit them in a bowl, and sit them to the side. See how even they are? I know a lot of people not used to cooking it quiet. I am actually. So I don't put too much music in my background when I do my videos because I'm not here to entertain. I'm actually here to teach. Only for those who are willing to learn. So I folded it. It came right back over it, the top of it. And then we go to flatten it out. Even the torn pieces, because we don't waste food in this house, it's all will be utilized. Now with these chicken tenders, if you want them spicy, add your extra cumin or Cajun seasoning or your hot sauce. Don't leave it too wet with hot sauce because it'll be hard to do the batter with it. So you want to do the hot sauce in moderation. But if you do that, you want to do it early, let it soak, and then drip it off, let it dry a little bit, and then do your dry, wet, dry. Because you don't want it too wet when you put it in the flour, because it'll make lumps. So after you're done flattening them out, add them to the bowl with the rest of the chicken tenders. And then you clean up the area you just worked in. And since I covered my cutting board with the plastic on the bottom, I'm going to still wash it. Definitely will still be doing that. But it's not as dirty. You're going to hear me washing my hands a lot because I am dealing with the raw meat. So now we do our batter. We're doing, this is the order it goes in. Chicken, flour, egg wash, then breadcrumb. There we go. That's better. So, let me turn it just a little. I'm going to use the ones that wasn't acting weird, or we just dredge it a little bit. We just want to cover it. You don't have to coat it like we're going to fry it in just that. So just lightly coat it. Shake off the excess. Dip it in the egg wash. You might make sure it's all the way covered. I use one hand for this just in case I got to do something else. You see how it's not a thick string of egg connected onto it? Then I go to my batter. When I put it in there, I like to shake it first so to go up the side. Then I flip it. Then I press down. Not too much, not too hard. But to get in the crevices that you might have missed. Then I plate it. Now with doing these, the best thing you could do is do all of them first. Coat them all first. Put them in the refrigerator, because that's the one step a lot of people miss and wonder why the batter and everything doesn't stay when they add it to the grease. Because you haven't gave it time to sit and actually stick to the meat. The reason I only start with a little bit of breadcrumbs, because I don't want to have to throw a bunch of breadcrumbs away. Now, the reason I say once you pat it down, you can see in the meat itself where you see where it's still shiny at. That means breadcrumbs is not on the area. So that's when I pick it up and I flip it and I pat down on it again. That's the difference. That means it's all the way coated. That shiny part that you see that's coming through is the egg. That means you haven't hit that spot. It hasn't stuck yet. Okay. Now for all my newcomers who doesn't know how to actually use, it's a cast iron skillet with oil in it. Now you notice that there's only a little bit of oil in my skillet. The reason for that is once you add the chicken to the oil, it rises. So the last thing you want to do is add too much oil. This is how I check my oil. I get my flour bag. I don't use the flour that already had the chicken on it. This is how I check it. When it frizzes, when it fries like that, that means the oil is hot enough to add the chicken. This is after we had it in the refrigerator for about, the shortest time I would tell you to leave it in the refrigerator so it'll just sit. It's like 7 minutes at the least. Now when you add it, gently sit it in the grease. You don't want to just flop it in there. Just throw it in there any kind of way because it'll pop back on you. That's what makes a lot of people scared to fry. Because you move too fast and it pops back on you. This is one of the broken ones we had. I'm frying those also. Where's my tongs? Here we go. Now while this was heating up, I got my station ready so when it comes out, I dry it off on paper bags. A lot of people use paper towels. We like recycling. So I get the paper bags from the gas station or the liquor store, the grocery store. Those paper bags, I recycle those to drain my food on. Now with them being a little flatter, you don't have to fry them as long as you would if they were uneven. So about 5 minutes on each side, depending on how brown you want them. I wasted some breadcrumbs on my stove. If you clean, you can clean. So if you clean while you're cooking, the only thing left for the kids to do is wash dishes. Mine hate washing dishes, but they like that I don't leave such a mess that they got to do the whole kitchen. Now you notice with me letting them sit, you can tell that there's not that many breadcrumbs loose that's floating around in the grease. So that means you can reuse this grease again without having to strain it through a sifter or a netted strainer to get the crumbs out, because you let them sit and there's not many floating around. So if you guys have any questions or any comments about today's dry, wet, dry batter. So they call it a double batter, but a lot of people don't know what that means. So that's the double batter, dry, wet, dry. Next time we're going to do wet batter, and actually how to do that and have the wet batter stick to whatever you're using it for. We're going to try zucchini. We're going to do mozzarella sticks with the wet, dry batter also. Show you how to do those at home. So just come back to my channel. This is Chef Joanne saying, keep it looking good, keep it cooking, and keep it short. See you guys next time.